What if I told you there was a woman who could instantly calm the Hulk? Not with science or weapons, but with just her presence. Betty Ross didn't need to run or scream. One look from her could stop the gray monster in his tracks. This is the buried origin of that tragic power, and the price both she and Bruce Banner paid for it. Chapter 1. The Bomb. The first issue opens not with an explosion, but with silence. Bruce Banner sits in the office of Dr. Leonard Sampson. The doctor shows Bruce some pictures of people from his past. Bruce freezes when he sees a picture of Betty Ross.
Haven't seen this photo in years.
Bruce, what is it? Why did you come to see me tonight?
You don't know what it's like
To be the Hulk?
to be me.
Banner doesn't want to talk about Betty. He wants to talk about monsters, about the moment it all started. A young teenager, Rick Jones, had wandered onto the test site. Banner ran into the blast zone to save him. He succeeded. But in doing so, he was exposed to a gamma bomb of his own making. And when he woke up, he was no longer the man they knew. The first Hulk was gray, a lumbering primal thing with minimal speech, pure instinct. That night he rampaged across the desert, fighting off tanks and terrified soldiers. But even then, something strange happened. He didn't destroy everything, because in the chaos he saw her, Betty Ross.
I remember this part, Leonard, as if it were yesterday. It was the first time that I could feel the Hulk was part of me, not a separate thing I turned into or became. At that exact moment, the Hulk and we had the exact same thought.
Chapter 2. The Girl. When they tell the tale of the Hulk, they speak of power, of destruction, of war machines crumpled like foil and soldiers scattered like sand. On that night, when the Hulk arrived outside of Betty Ross's door, he could have easily ripped it from its hinges. Instead, he stood in silence. Betty Ross, the daughter of the man who would come to define the Hulk's lifelong torment. A scientist in her own right, sharp, empathetic, and brave in a way the Hulk didn't understand, but recognized. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She just stood there, barely breathing. And the Hulk? He didn't lunge, didn't roar. Instead, he stared, not with rage but curiosity. His shoulders lowered, his fists unclenched, as if something in her eyes calmed him.
Betty,
You can speak? I mean, of course you can speak, you just spoke, but how do you know my name? What kind of thing are you?
not thing. Hulk.
You're that monster everyone is out looking for. My father told me about you, how you tore through the place where Bruce was found. Where is Dr. Banner? Where is Bruce?
What have you done to him?
Betty want Banner. Hulk hate Banner.
Betty became overwhelmed with emotion and lost consciousness, but Hulk caught her and held her in his arms. It was the first moment in the creature's short existence that wasn't driven by anger or fear, but rather connection, something almost human. But that moment didn't last. Thaddeus Ross ordered his military to open fire with his daughter still directly in the line of fire, and the Hulk reacted not with aggression, but protection. He stomped the earth, knocking the soldiers off their feet. He gently placed Betty down on the ground and then disappeared into the desert night. The gray monster had just saved the general's daughter, but no one saw that part. Chapter 3. The Orphan. You remember Rick Jones, the crazy kid who got himself caught in the middle of the gamma blast? He followed Hulk that night after he made his escape, but at the end of a long trail of wrecked machinery, he found Bruce, tattered and hung over. Rick helps Bruce lock himself in the depths of a nuclear waste facility and makes Rick promise not to let the monster out. But when the Hulk emerged again, there was nothing that Rick could do to keep him at bay. Later that night, Rick got himself captured. The soldiers knocked him out and took him to the base. Thaddeus Ross was very interested to find out exactly what Rick knew about the Hulk after reports cited the two of them together. Rick did not budge and refused to reveal that Bruce was the Hulk. Ross was under the impression that Bruce was either missing or dead. Betty was there too, watching the interrogation unfold from behind the glass. Her main concern remained the same: Bruce Banner's safety. There was another man in the room, a tall figure in a pinstripe suit. He'd been sent in to apply pressure. If Ross couldn't contain the Hulk, he'd take matters into his own hands. Hulk came across Rick's jacket in the sand and saw the tire tracks of a military vehicle in the ground. He knew exactly who'd taken his only friend, and he knew where to find him. Back at the base, General Ross's interrogation tactics had become more severe. He needed answers. Betty ran into the interrogation room to stop her father from beating the information out of the boy. But Hulk beat her to it. His colossal gray figure smashed into the building and injured Ross in the process. Hulk broke Rick out of his chain, but froze once again at the sight of Betty.
Betty.
Stop saying my name like you know me. You don't know me.
Unsure of what to do, Hulk grabbed Betty and ran.
Well, General Ross, I can see we have a common problem. Credibility. The Army brass doesn't think you can catch the Hulk, and you don't think I can do it. How about I give it a shot and solve the problem for both of us?
Beside a moonlit lake, Hulk tended to Betty. He poured water into her mouth and brought her back to consciousness. She managed to mutter a word, a name.
Bruce?
Chapter 4, The Suit. It wasn't enough to aim tanks at him. Ross brought in something new, something different. Not a soldier, not a missile, a man, encased in gold. The prototype Iron Man suit, still early, still crude. It was a battle of cold metal versus raw fury, gold against gray. The Hulk didn't know who or what this new attacker was, but it moved with precision. Its punches were sharp, controlled. And for the first time, the Hulk met something he couldn't just tear apart with one hand. The Hulk fought like a wounded animal backed into a corner. The gold armor held up longer than most things ever did. But in the end, it bent, cracked. Hulk smashed his mighty fists down on Iron Man repeatedly. Betty ran toward them to try and stop the monster and got caught by Hulk's swinging fist. Hulk stopped hitting Iron Man and watched with concern as blood trickled down Betty's face. Chapter 5. The Cave. Hulk brought Betty first aid supplies and tried to patch up the wound on her head. He never meant to hurt her, but that didn't matter. He did. Betty woke and fixed the Hulk's lousy attempt at bandaging. She was angry with the Hulk and scolded him for being such a destructive beast. She was cold and begged the Hulk to let her go home. Thunder rumbles in the heavens and a bolt of lightning tears through the sky. Hulk roars back at it.
Hulk! Hulk, listen to me. It was only thunder. Thunder can't hurt you.
Nothing can hurt Hulk.
But that wasn't true. What hurt Hulk the most was seeing Betty injured and knowing it was his fault. Hulk tried to make up for his actions by making Betty a fire. But still, she begged him to let her go. All Hulk wanted to do was keep Betty safe. The air filled with the sound of chopper blades. A spotlight lit up the cave. They'd been found. Chapter 6. The Monster. Hulk jumped onto the chopper and ripped General Ross out of his seat as the aircraft came crashing to the ground. Hulk lifted Ross into the air, surrounded by flames, and stared into his enemy's eyes. The soldiers had their weapons raised, with Hulk in their sights. General Ross gave the order to shoot, but Betty ran into the firing line and forced them to hold their fire. She pleaded with the Hulk to let her father go, and Hulk listened. He'd already hurt Betty once, and he wasn't willing to take that chance again. Banner eventually returned back to the base. He couldn't let the world believe that Hulk had killed him, and even more than that, he wanted to be closer to Betty. Bruce is still looking at the picture of Betty.
So, that was it then.
The why of it all. Why Betty stayed with me all of those years. Even after she found out, after the entire world found out that Bruce Banner is the Hulk.
Bruce, don't go there.
She loved me because she saw the monster as something familiar, as someone she could love.
Not everything is as black and white as you're saying.
Damn it, Leonard, I've known this all along. I was just too much of a coward to admit it. Me, Ross, what's the difference?
Bruce, calm down.
Calm down? Calm down.
The whole world wants me to calm down. No more talk. Hulk smash!
Before the rage, there was love. And that's what hurt the most. The tragedy of Hulk. Gray isn't becoming the monster. It's remembering the man.